Welcome to our I Am Workshop Conversation Series, a transformative journey designed to inspire self-discovery and ignite your creative spirit. With your hosts, Ana Maria Davalos, Maria Lanes, and Maclovia Martel. Today's guest is Cynthia Wright. She's a motivational coach, internal family systems therapist, and family constellations facilitator based in Ecuador. She began her career in media at age 17, working as a producer and host for major television and radio outlets. Cynthia is also the author of the book Oveja Negra, or in English, Black Sheep. Thank you for joining us, Cynthia. We're so happy to have you as a guest.
Oh, no, Maclovia, Lilian, Ana Maria, thank you. It's an honor to be here with you.
This show discusses transformative experiences in our lives. So, if you can tell us a transformative experience or experiences that have shaped you on your journey.
I've had a lot of transformative experience during my life. Actually, right now, I am having one transformative experience. But the first one that I think that I had was an accident. I had an accident in which I broke one of the parts of the spine.
Mhm.
So it was very, very hard for me. But actually, I can see that event as one of the most wonderful things that ever happened to me
Mhm.
because it was like my awakening when this happened to me, and I could see that I was driving a car, and I wasn't drunk, but I had my drinks. I was actually celebrating my mother's birthday, and when we came back with my ex-boyfriend, we started fighting, and this fight actually became a very violent fight, not really going like in our hands,
Wow.
but verbal, exactly. And at the end, I forgot my cell phone. It was like it ended very, very violently. And I forgot my cellular phone,
Uh-huh.
his car. So when I entered my house, I just came and I was like desperate. I don't know exactly if it was because I wanted to keep fighting, or I wanted to say I'm sorry, or I wanted my cell phone. I don't know which. So I just drove to his house. He lived very, very, it was not far from my house. It was like few blocks away, but I didn't put my seat belt. So I just went to find him, and very, very fast without the seat belt. And next thing I remember, an angel came and he knocked my door in my window, and so he helped me, and he called actually my boyfriend so he could bring help. And then I went to the hospital. They made all kind of exams, and I had this
So
broken.
somebody saw the accident happen. Is that it? And they
No, he was walking home.
Oh, okay.
And it was great because I didn't hit anybody. I just hit like a stone that was
Mhm.
there. I was
Mhm.
going so fast, and the car hit the stone. Actually, the car was absolutely broken. It
Mhm.
couldn't serve anymore. Imagine the accident that I had. And when I went to the hospital, they made exams, and they told me that I was very lucky because with that kind of injury, I
Injury.
paralyzed and never walk again. Actually, I could also die.
Mhm.
So, and I felt so guilty inside of me because, especially thinking about my daughters, because I have two daughters, and
Mhm.
at that time they were like 8 and 6 years old. So I was like, what? I couldn't understand the how I could do something like that. How could I never like think about what I was doing, like feel what I was
Mhm.
feeling, and just like go like in automatic
Yeah.
pilot. So for me, actually, I don't know if you can see, I
Yeah.
have like a small scar here, and
Mhm.
I just put like base in my whole face, but I'm not looking like to cover it up because for me, it's like the sign of my awakening. So I love it
Mhm.
very, very
Yeah.
much. And at that time was when I really started this journey of transformation, and that was like my first one. And I tried to find something. I was like, there has to be something else. Life can't be just this, like waking up and being in an autopilot all day long and just like doing all the things that you have to do in your day to day. There has to be something more. So I started looking and I found a lot of different ways for awaken, and I made a lot of workshops, and I started like studying first for myself because
Right.
I wanted to heal. And I'm so lucky that when the time came that my brother committed suicide, I was already in that path, because if I wasn't, I don't know what could have happened to me. And of course, the second one, and I think the most big one, was the suicide of my brother.
Mm-hmm.
I always in my life, I was also saving people. I had this part that was like, I have to save, 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 because I started saving when I was like, I guess like 8 years old. My mother was very depressed, so I was always thinking that I was going to save her, and then saving my brother also, because he had like 20 times before he tried to commit suicide before he did it. Like it was since he was like 17 years old until he was like 43 years old when he committed suicide. It was a constant thing, and I was constantly saving him. I was the youngest one. Actually, I am the youngest one in my family, but he was 3 years older than me. But I was always saving him, always finding him, always calling, always like trying to save him. And of course, when he died, I don't think that there was blame, because I was always trying to save him, and always trying to do something for him. But there was like this feeling that I couldn't save him. So
Right.
I started saving more and more to more people, and trying to save my daughters, and trying to save my niece that, and we are very close, especially since my brother died, trying to save my mother, trying to save, and then actually I became a therapist. So in my mind, I'm going to save, and I'm going to save. But I made it was like a transformation very big, because for me, of course, it was like the most um, hurting thing in my whole life. It hurt so badly when when my brother died. But after all this transformation, and after all this healing, and after all these things that I studied, I understood that my purpose in life was not to save, but it was to be there for others, so I could help them to
To
heal.
teach, to
Like a
teach.
companion, a
And
companion. Yeah.
Like,
Exactly, a companion,
yeah.
because you can't save anybody. You can just a companion. But it was like it became like I was like thinking always, I would have liked to find all these healing things that I am learning, so I could help him when he was sick, because my brother had TOC, OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder.
Hmm.
mhm.
So now my purpose is my blessing. And it was like the worst feeling in the world. It hurt so much. And now I can see my brother's suicide for me, because I think every person has for what. You can't say why, because why, when you say why, you stay there and you never hear somebody answering that question. But when you say what's for what this came, no?
Para qué in Spanish? Is the
¿Para
para
qué?
qué.
I think that you chose the most difficult path
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
because because it's the easiest thing to say when somebody asks for help or somebody needs help. The easiest thing to say is no.
Mhm.
And the hardest thing to say is yes. Because
Yeah.
when you say yes, you have to really come through for that person.
Mhm.
And, you know, when you become somebody like that, so giving, you have to think of yourself and how to save yourself in the process and saving yourself from, some things because it's difficult. Those experiences are really, really tough. You have to be brave.
So that was so now I see the suicide of my brother. I see it as a blessing, and I am always telling people that the most difficult thing, the thing that most hurts in your life, can be your most big blessing. And that's what happened to me, and I guess that happens a lot to a lot of people, a lot of people. And now I was telling you that I'm having also a transformation because
Mm-hmm.
I have an illness that it's called in Spanish, it's called bocio multinodular. It's that you have a lot of nodules, do you say it in the English?
Uh-huh.
Nodules.
Noodles, yeah.
No.
In my thyroid. Actually, I
Okay.
don't have an illness of my thyroid. Like the thyroid is working perfectly, but I have a nodule that it's very big. It's 6 centimeters, and
Uh-huh.
I'm sure that it started when my brother committed suicide because it's been like growing in time. But
Well, it's your
Mhm.
voice. It's also
Yeah.
here. It's in that chakra.
Exactly,
Yeah. And
exactly,
that
exactly.
it's interesting because when I feel sadness, I feel it
It
here.
goes here.
I feel it
Mhm.
very
Yeah,
much
when
so
you're
right
sad,
here.
it's like when you're about to cry, the pain starts
Like the
here.
golf ball. They say it's a golf ball in the throat. So
So
how
it's the
Yeah,
did
same
you
yeah.
thing. Yeah,
how did you from your brother and the accident, what steps and what did you learn and you became a therapist.
Exactly. Yes, I became a therapist. It was not like exactly after he died. It didn't started then.
Yeah.
First, there was a lot of healing inside of me, trying to understand, no,
Mm-hmm.
what had happened, and especially feeling. I've never felt before. I was always like the Wonder Woman,
Mm-hmm.
the one
yeah,
that it's very. I have a lot of. I am big. I have a lot of strength. I can do it. I can do it everything by myself.
yeah.
But you weren't being present, right?
No, and I was
Yeah.
also like in autopilot, and I was like always thinking about what I had to do, never
Mm-hmm.
feeling, always like
Yeah,
doing things
that
and
makes you think
saving
about you. Where is you in this
about
equation?
me. It was so big what was happening to me when my brother died that actually I never I guess I cried 2 times, but just a little bit. The first one when I came home and I hugged my dad, and the other one I guess it was when the in the funeral, and that was it. I never cried anymore, but actually my body was crying blood because I had my period 3 times in that month.
Oh my
So
God.
actually
Yeah.
Yeah,
I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
cry like
Mm-hmm.
tears, but I cried. My body cried blood.
Right for you, yeah. It's your body was feeling what your mind was, yeah, was not
Exactly.
or
saying. Yeah.
wound.
Yeah,
That's
that's how we get sick.
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Holding in those instead
Those
of
emotions. Yeah,
Yes.
feeling them. Yeah.
And that's the thyroid, because I hold all that, and
Mm-hmm.
for once
Mm-hmm.
also I wanted to save, and I was always, not anymore, but I was always running against time. I
Mm-hmm.
have to run, I have to go because I have to do so many things, and I have to save, 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 save. And
no,
the
no,
thyroid,
it's
the
so
thyroid,
intense.
the thyroid in biodecoding means time. You
Mm-hmm.
actually are going against time, or you are not using the time and you are not doing anything.
It's sort of
Hmm.
That
like
are
you're avoiding. It's
Yeah,
avoidance. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But you are running. You are always using like time. Also, it's of course communications and not talking about the things that hurt.
That's
Not
my
not
brother. My brother's like that. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So that was I had a lot of teachings. I mean the bad things that happen to you. It's not that I am trying to get bad things. I think that nobody wants to. The goal for everybody is to be have love in your life and have peace in your life. But now I know that the bad things that you see it actually as bad things, it's they're always bringing you a lot of things to learn and
Mm-hmm.
to transform yourself.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I always tell my patients, okay, what would you do if you could have like the power to change things? Okay, and they tell me, no, I will change and I will talk and I will say this, and I'm telling, it's impossible
Yeah.
because all that you think,
Yeah.
do you know that the conscience that you have now in your life, It's because of that event that happened. If that
Mm-hmm.
event didn't
Exactly.
happen, you wouldn't have that conscious, and you couldn't go and give an advice, and you couldn't go and change things. I have a patient now that his girlfriend committed suicide.
Uh-huh.
He is like, I want to go back on time because I think that I could have listened more to her. I could have treated her in a different way. I
No.
could understand what she was feeling. And I tell him, you can't, because if you go back now in time, you won't have that everything
The
Mm,
that
wisdom.
you learned, that
The
conscious, that
wisdom. Yeah.
wisdom,
Yeah.
exactly.
yeah.
So everything that
And
happened is perfect, and that's
Everything's for a reason.
it gives space for other people to really come out and talk about, because suicide, I think, is such a taboo subject. Nobody wants to touch it.
exactly. And that's one thing that happened after my book. It was like an open book that suddenly started to get out, because a lot of people wrote me after the book and they told me, finally I can understand what for example, my son is having, is what he's feeling right now, what's happening to him, because it didn't just made people talk about suicide, but it made also talk about a lot of mental illness.
We were just talking about that with Lolly and Maclovia. The name Black Sheep. Can you explain us a little bit about the black sheep? What was the meaning? Because usually the black sheep is like the worst person in the family, and in family constellations, I know it has a different meaning, right?
Of course, yes. Actually, the black sheep, as as you're saying, is like the one that it's no, no, he doesn't exist. He's shaming all the family, and he's like the terrible.
Yeah.
And actually, my brother, he felt like a black sheep. He was always saying, "I'm the black sheep of the family, and I'm not good enough. I am not like the others, that they are working and they are doing money, and I'm not that. I'm the black sheep." And actually, he was seen as the black sheep. Maybe in some of my people from my family and friends and etc. But the black sheep, I think that yes, he was the black sheep, but he was a black sheep in a different way. And I also feel like the black sheep. So in my book, it's like we are like these, like melted together, and we are like both of us are the black sheep. And what is really a black sheep, as Ana Maria was saying in the family constellations, a sheep, actually a sheep, a real sheep, it's black, right? A black sheep
Hmm.
is black. And you know why they don't like black sheeps? Like the
Because
people.
they can't dye their wool.
Their wool.
I read it in your
Exactly.
I read it on your
Yeah.
website.
Oh, you read it on the web. You
Exactly.
Yeah.
cheated, Maclovia.
I
Exactly.
cheated.
That's why,
Yeah.
because on the other, like the white sheeps, they can't give wool for anyone, right? They can paint it red, they can paint it blue, but the black sheep
They're
can't be
like,
painted,
it's
right? So that's
useless.
why it's
Mm.
useless. It's just for things that
They,
are black.
yeah.
That's it. So
Mm-hmm.
they don't like black sheep. That's why they don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, that's why a black sheep really, it's the authentic one. It's the
Mm-hmm.
one that can't be colored.
Mm-hmm.
It's the
Right.
one that stays the way it is without changing it, without putting some things to change it, right?
Yeah.
So a black sheep really is that. And that was my brother. My brother was absolutely authentic. He was himself. He was not ashamed of, for example, if a person was singing, was eating in a restaurant and it was his birthday, he just went to the table, no, and sang and sing the happy birthday as an opera. He just said what he was feeling.
Mm-hmm.
He always was telling everybody that he had OCD, and he was not ashamed of the OCD.
Mm-hmm.
And he was telling everybody that he wanted to commit suicide. It was not a secret.
Mm-hmm.
So
Hmm.
actually, he wanted to write a book about his
Mm.
story. And he
Wow.
started writing. We made afterwards documentary.
Mm.
It's in the internet, actually,
Oh,
and with a lot of things for people so that had OCD. So it was like trying to help others
yeah.
like he wanted to. So actually, that's the black sheep. And I think that I am also a black sheep because I came to show everything this, right? I came to show the authenticity of my brother. I came to show the illness, the mental illness. I came to show suicide. I came to show that we don't have to have secrets in our family.
Yeah.
It's okay as it is, and it's perfect as it is, and that everybody belongs, not just the ones that come with I don't know, that are perfect, that have money, that are no, everybody belongs, and everybody
Exactly.
needs to show something.
You have the flashlight actually.
Mm.
And
Because you are
especially in
giving
Latin
light on
America.
something that, yeah,
Yeah.
you're
And
putting the
especially in
light.
Latin America societies, like women, we have been brought up different. And I remember my mom or my grandmother is just don't. We had this saying, Loli and Cynthia, we can tell her, Maclovia, los trapos sucios se lavan en casa.
That's
The
right.
translation
The
in
dirty
English would be
laundry stays at
dirty
home.
laundry. Yeah. Don't talk about the dirty laundry. I
Don't
mean,
talk,
you
don't
you,
tell.
you clean your laundry in your
Mhm,
house.
mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
because nobody wants to know the truth. Everybody wants a light conversation. You don't want to be involved. The moment you start listening to the truth, then you have to really stick to it.
So you
You
brush it,
know?
we say we brush it under the carpet.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
okay.
brush it
Exactly.
under the carpet.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
mean,
And nothing ever gets resolved. Nothing ever
Exactly.
and nothing
no.
ever comes to
It
rise,
and
comes
it continues
you have to
forever.
release, all these family
Well, because they
emotions,
are
and
shameful,
it's embarrassing. It's
it's
this,
embarrassing.
yeah.
Nobody wants to have like
Exactly. You
Yeah.
issues,
know, the movie
especially
Encanto,
mental issues,
the Disney
Encanto.
mental
movie
health.
Encanto, that's a movie about actually family constellations
Which
and
movie?
Encanto.
Encanto,
Encanto.
the
Mhm.
Disney movie, and it's I don't know the lyrics in English because I saw it in Spanish, but it's the part that they're talking about Bruno, the uncle. No se
Uh-huh.
habla de Bruno, no, no, no. That's it. You don't talk about Bruno. And that's the thing that we do in our families, you know? You don't talk about that uncle or about that grandmother because
Yeah,
she was like the one that ashamed everybody because she was pregnant and
right.
without getting married. So you just bring them to the exile. You exile them, and that's why there are like a lot of repetitions in the family, that the same thing happens to the next generation and the next generation and the next generation. And that's because we don't see, because we don't honor this
Mhm,
grandmother that
mhm,
had this problem and that decided to get birth to this child, and that she had all this story, this love story, maybe that it was really a love story, but no, you can't, because that's
mhm.
not part of our family, and that's not a good thing to do. So they exile her, and that's why a lot of problems come to
Come.
our family
Well,
and repetition.
I think that if it was a contest, we should do like the worst family of the year. So people would tell their stories.
We're all
Like because
dysfunctional.
we're all somehow dysfunctional, and I think everybody has a really ugly story that they're so ashamed to tell.
I
And
remember that I had this therapist that actually I love her very much. She was so
mm,
nice and she helped me a lot. But the one thing that I didn't like was that I usually I like the word like crazy, okay? And I
Mhm,
tell my girls, you're so crazy, you are acting like a crazy, but I see it like as a good thing, okay?
mhm,
And she once told me, you never have to say that word again because you are like calling, how do you say,
The
craziness
craziness.
crazy.
the crazy.
craziness to your life, because of course in my life there had been a lot of mental illness,
Mm,
and
Uh-huh.
and there were a lot of people that were like, okay, that one is crazy because he has a bipolarity, and that one has OCD, so he's crazy, and that one. And so she was telling me, you're like calling it. And I was like, oh, yes, okay, I'm not saying that again. And then when I started learning other methodologies, I saw that it was the opposite, that I have to hug the
mhm,
craziness that
mhm,
lives in me, in my daughters, in my mother, in my ancestors, because you heal when you integrate
mm,
everything that you are and everything that you received, not just the good things, everything. And that
This,
craziness is part of me. I am
yeah,
crazy, but I am everything. I'm not just crazy. I
you're
am also
beautiful, crazy. It's beautiful,
exactly,
crazy.
Beautiful,
But we
crazy.
were just, I was talking about this with Lolly about the Ho'oponopono,
Yeah.
the saying,
The
thank you, I love
the
you, please
prayer.
forgive me, the prayer, because you're opening you say it to any experience or any person,
hmm
but it's actually opening you up
hmm
for forgiveness. And that way you can heal that person. You have to heal first before you heal that person. So I resonate with what you just said, because that's true. You know,
hmm
you have to, crazy is beautiful.
It
Yeah, no, and
is.
it is. Well,
It is.
one
It
thing
is.
is
And
crazy, and
if
the
you
other
think,
thing is to deal with a crazy one. How do you deal with people who have a mental illness? That's my question,
oh,
right?
I, I guess with a lot of love.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like without judgment. And that was what I was going to say, that it's difficult to say, for example, to my daughter, you are a beautiful crazy, you're absolutely crazy, but I'm saying it without judgment. I
Mm-hmm.
am not using the word crazy as a, it's a
It's
judgment
the intention behind, right?
Mm-hmm.
intention behind. You're so beautiful because you're crazy, because I
Mm-hmm.
love your craziness, I love how you are, that you like
Mm-hmm.
so
Well,
that's the
that's
difference, because you
crazy,
treat it like,
crazy.
hey, you're crazy. I don't love you anymore because you're crazy, and if you're crazy, I won't be there with you, and then I'm doing it with judgment.
Mm-hmm.
So also to a person that has a mental illness, I think with acceptance. I
Yes.
think without judgment, looking as his illness as my illness, because I have a thyroid illness, and I'm not like being judged because I have a thyroid
Well,
illness.
it's. I think that it would be great to understand
Exactly. Understand.
what what kind of person that person has emotionally, psychologically, because most of us don't know symptoms.
hmm Of
Mhm.
And
course.
that's where the problem is, not understanding the illness.
Yes,
And
and
then
not
we get
accepting.
upset. We're like, yeah, you're so stupid. I hate you because you are so toxic.
hmm
But they
But
are toxic
that's that new word. Now everybody talks about toxic, and we
Yeah.
don't know that toxicity can be our shadow also, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
But you can
we are all
also
toxic.
well,
do this, I think, with people that are angry, people that
yeah,
are just not they're horrible people, but you're
yeah.
shedding light on them and
Yeah.
sending them love.
And you know what? The thing is that it's not, always what really works for me, and works for me with people that have an angry part, that have like an obsessive part, if they have OCD, etc., etc., is that we are not our parts. And that's what I've learned with IFS, internal family systems, that it's the methodology that I use. It's really, really wonderful. And that's why it's like a boom now in the United States. It's because you don't tell. I really, this is my favorite phrase in the world, and it's, you are not, no, tus pensamientos, your
You're not,
And not
thoughts.
your thoughts.
You're not your thoughts. You are who is listening.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And that's what we are.
Mm-hmm.
We're not our thoughts. We're not our parts. We have an angry part. We have a frustrated part. We have a sad part. We have a part that it has a lot of fear. And we have an obsessive part, but
Mm-hmm.
we are nothing. We are not that, because usually when they tell us it's, you are this, you are this, you are this, and you are this, and you are this. So I'm like, okay, I can change. I'm that. If you tell a kid since he's very small, okay, you are a very angry person, he's going to be a very angry person all his
Mm-hmm.
life.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
if you tell him you have an angry part inside of you, and I can
Mm-hmm.
see it, and I can feel it, and I can understand it, the kid starts understanding also his furious part, and looking it as a part, not as himself.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's
that
not,
then
not
things change
identifying, right? Not
Yeah,
without
identifying
being
with that.
aware.
being aware
Mm-hmm.
that you have it, and that
Mm-hmm.
it's not your fault. You don't bring your thoughts, they
Mm-hmm.
come to you. So it's not, I always tell for example, my patients, if I tell you not to think of a white horse, what are you thinking? Of a white horse. Because your thoughts just come. We just have what? 5% of absolutely consciousness, and that's a lot because a lot of people have 3. So,
And
the other 95 is just there. It's
Yeah.
just a thing. So they just come, and it's not that I'm not a bad person because I was angry and I shouted. I just have a part that triggers, and that's why I shout, but it's a part. It's not me.
yeah.
Mhm.
So when you talk about thoughts, you also do manifestation or manifesting
That
Of
was
coaching.
my
course.
question. Yeah.
Yeah. So can you we're trying to manifest here.
Yeah. The I am project.
We're trying to
These are
manifest.
I think
our
we're
t-shirts. The I am
manifesting. We are
project.
manifesting.
Oh, wow.
So what I went to a manifesting coach. She manifested me. We joke about this because I spent a lot of money and it wasn't very good. But I think when you talk about thoughts, like you say, a white horse, think of a white horse. Now, if you're going to think about $5,000, $10,000, how do you get it? Like, how does this happen? How do you manifest something?
Believing that you will have it.
So
But
have the faith.
if you have, for me, first, before you manifest, you have to believe that you deserve. You have to believe that you are enough. You have to believe that you are beautiful, that you are wealthy, that you are healthy, and then you can manifest. But if you
Exactly.
don't believe inside of you, so that's why for me, it's very important to first, before you manifest, try to find where's the origin. Where's the origin of all those beliefs that you are not enough, that you can't have something, and then you can manifest. And actually, almost always your beliefs come from your when you are small, from childhood. So
Childhood.
that's why I love so much IFS, because on IFS you feel the body. That's the first thing, like the somatic experience.
The internal
Because all
family systems, is that it?
uh,
Internal. Okay.
internal
The
family.
inner child. Yeah.
Yes, and you at the end you go to your inner child, but first you have to find your protectors that are your
Oh.
parts. And
Mhm.
the protectors live in your body. Like you were saying, when you are sad, something comes here. When you have a lot of you have a lot of anger, it usually comes to your belly, but it's not the same
I
for
feel
everybody.
there. I used to feel
Or
there a
the
lot.
Yeah, or the head.
yeah.
I used to
So
have the back pain.
that your emotions live there.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, we were small, when we were kids, the first thing that we have were emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Then came the thoughts, okay? And then came the feeling in the body, okay?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So when we were the first 7 years of our life, the most big thing we had were emotions.
Hmm.
From 7 to 14 years, thoughts.
Mm.
And from 14 years to 21, feelings in your body. So it was like, that's why when we are in the teenagers, they love like to feel a lot and drink and have things that are very, very
It
nice.
has to be
Lots of
intense.
sensory. Lots of
Exactly,
sensory.
exactly. Lots of
Lots of
sensory.
music.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. So that's why the emotions are so important, because they started when we were kids. And which are the most important years in our life? The first 7 years, right?
Hmm.
Now it's the opposite. Now the first thing that we feel is the sensory. It comes first the body, then second the thought, and then the emotion. So where do we have to start looking on the body? Because who's feeling the emotions? The body, right? So
Yeah.
that's the importance of feeling the body, of because all your memories are not here, are in the body.
They're stored in your body.
That those are the real memories, because the
Mm.
memories that are here are the ones that we told ourselves the
Mm-hmm.
stories, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Real
The
memories are in the
movies.
body. So
Yeah, and they
that's
keep
why
changing.
you start with the body, and then the memories start coming, and then your brain will be in synchrony with your heart, with your emotions, and with your intestine, right? So that's when the magic comes, and that's when you really can find the origin of your belief, and tell that little girl or that little boy that it's not true, and that he can take it out. He can throw it away. It's not something that it's serving. And when you do that and you bring your little inner
Your
child
inner child.
present to live with you, everything changes. Everything is magic. It just changes. And then always telling again, okay, for example, one thing that for me is great, it's to see you on watching in the mirror and tell you every day, you are worth. You are, I mean, for me, for example, I would say, Cynthia, you are beautiful. You are worth it. You are
Yeah.
so intelligent. You are so wealthy. You can do whatever you want because what you think, what you believe, in Spanish is lo que crees, creas.
Mm-hmm.
Believe you can create.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to believe it first. If you don't believe it, you will just do blah 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 because you're not manifesting really. That's why, for example, Joe Dispenza, what says is that you have to feel
Yeah.
it. You have
The
to
feeling
feel
is
it in your
first.
body. If you don't feel it in your body, you won't manifest. So
It's
that's
like
it.
it's embodiment, right? We talk about embodiment, just feeling that you already have it and feel it,
Exactly.
and you embody it like you're the best, or you're coming in a party
Exactly.
and you
Because then
just
you will
feel
believe
it.
it.
Yeah,
Because you know
yeah.
that
Yeah.
the beliefs that we have that we're not worth it, it's because a lot of times our the people that were taking care of us told us that.
Or
You are
we saw
important.
Well,
it.
you
We
know,
saw it
in
in them.
And we
right,
saw it and we feel it. So that's why we believe it.
we
But
just
if
have to
we start
remember
doing the
there.
opposite again
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
then you
yeah.
start believing the
You know,
opposite, and then the magic comes. Then you start receiving everything that you manifest.
So
yeah.
just
You know, in the
so there's
80s,
like
there
three
was a.
steps.
Go
So you
ahead.
have to sort of feel where these feelings are coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Be aware of where they're triggers.
Exactly.
They
They're
are.
triggers, and then you
And a
have
lot of times they are
release
not
them.
yours also, because sometimes you've been, it's from one of your ancestors. So that's why the family constellations also work, because you can find the origin that maybe it's not yours, because you say, no, I don't understand where this come from, because nothing happened to me when I was small. Okay, but you have this grandmother that she had this trauma, and you have it also because now it's. I think that you've heard about epigenetics, that it's already science,
In
right?
your.
They say that actually we how to say heritage, right? Heritage,
Yeah,
eh,
inheritance. Yeah, inheritance.
our ancestors' traumas, not
Mm-hmm.
just their
We
genes,
inherit.
also
Yeah.
their traumas.
Yeah, like Bruce Lipton says. One question, Cynthia, that's very interesting. We were thinking with Lolly and Maclovia, but well, everything, the political problems right now in the US, etc. But we were thinking of doing a workshop here in Ecuador, either in the jungle or the Galapagos. And we might need maybe a family constellator in part of the workshop we're doing, because we start with the Birkman method that's very left-brained. Then we go with the artist and Loli and Maclovia, the filmmaker. But we need something else, and would be so much fun to do family constellations. I don't know what you think.
I would love it. Actually, it's so wonderful. You can't believe the things that happen, the magics, the synchronicity. The last workshop that I did, that it was 1 week ago,
Mhm.
e- everybody, there were 4 people that were constellating. Usually, it always happens that everybody, synchronicities, they don't know each other's, but they come and they all or almost all of them have something to do with the mother. Then
Uh-huh.
everybody have something to do with the father or with their couples, or it's always a synchronicity, and we're like, whoa, we can't believe it, that everything is turning the same. But last one was so amazing because it was 4 of 4. The
Uh-huh.
4 people, they didn't know each other, and the 4 of them came asking for money.
Okay.
And it was so amazing because at the end of each constellation, we have the tarot terapéutico, the therapeutic tarot, and we always ask them to get one card to see what's
Uh-huh.
the message. The message is from yourself, from your inner superior me, right? From your
Your higher
essence,
self.
For your higher self, exactly. And three of the four people, there were like 120 cards, and we mixed them. And three of the four people received the same message in the same card. It was
Well,
no. This can't be happening. It
Yeah.
happens
I
so
do.
many synchronicities. It's
Yeah.
really, really amazing.
I've had
You have
that
your
with
you have your
angel
cards,
cards.
Maglovia, because
Yeah,
you have
I
to
have
take a
some
card for
angel
Cynthia.
cards. Yeah, I have angel cards. But I wanted to ask you before we do that, I just wanted to ask you, you were a television host
That's right. When
and
I
at a very early age. I mean,
was,
that's very young, 17 to be how did
Exactly.
that happen?
it was a synchronicity, actually. I came to a party. I didn't know what I was going to study. I was at 12th grade, and I was like thinking about going to the university, but I didn't know if I would stay here or go to the United States. And I went to a party with my brothers, and there was these friends of my brothers that were from Guayaquil. And
Mhm.
one of them came and told me, "You are very pretty. Maybe you would like to have like a casting." And I said, "Okay, just like to do something to have fun." So I went to the channel and they told me, so I was like, "Okay, what I have to say?" And they was, "Okay, just talk." And what I talk about, and they gave me this product that I had to promote it and also talk about myself. And okay, and they started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And hi, my name is Cynthia, Wright, and I'm from Quito, Ecuador, and inside of me, I was, who's
Shaking.
who's that? What's happening to me? I couldn't understand what was happening, and that was when I discovered that I was good communicating because before that I didn't know. And 3 days after that, they called me and they said, "You're hired." And I was like, "I can't be hired. I'm in school." There was like 3 months before I graduated, and this was a live show from 1
Wow.
in the afternoon to 3 in the afternoon. And I was 17 years old, and I went out of school at 3 p.m., so it was impossible for me. And then I started thinking, and I asked my parents, and they said, for us, it's okay, talk to the principal. And the principal was okay also because I had very good grades. And then I went to the channel and I asked them and I told them, "No, I can't come every day, but the principal gave me permission to go out 3 times a week because I had just had 3 more months to graduate." So they said, okay. So I started that way. And then stayed there for 3 years. I studied at the same time, but because it was a live show, I couldn't, like, sometimes I couldn't get one class because I had to have, like, for example, television production one, and it was at the same time. I mean, because
Oh
the
my God.
program was live, I couldn't go. So it was one more year to study. I think that I had like more credit. I'm probably the person who has more credits in all the university because I had a lot of classes that were not mandatory and I was just doing them. I think I was like 5.5 or 6 years in the university because I couldn't graduate because I was working. So my father one day told me, okay, you have to go out and you have to graduate. So I did that. And afterwards, I worked in two more television programs. The one of the last ones was Ecuavisa, in a program that I really was like the most famous girl like here. I was so famous and I was feeling so famous. And you
Uh,
know it was for me, the television was like my escape
uh,
because I had this perfect life. I was always invited to the restaurants and discotheques and
The
every
cool guys.
The life. You were
girl.
living the
And
life.
yes,
yeah,
and
you
I was
were
like
living the
I was
You
like
life.
the
open and
Barbie.
turn on the lights.
You
And
were like,
I actually chose a Ken
No.
as my boyfriend. So we were like the Barbie and the Ken, the perfect car, the perfect, everything was perfect. But inside of me, there was so much pain because I was always with all these problems, all these traumas. My mother
Nobody
was
could
always
see that. Yeah.
depressed. My father was not there because they got divorced, and I missed him so much, and I had to these things. I felt like I had like blocks in my shoulders that I was carrying, and I was always trying to help my mother so she won't be so depressed because of the problems of my brother. And that was the pain that I really had inside. So one day I was like the perfect host and everything. And one day they called me to go to the administrator of
The
the
channel.
You're like,
channel.
okay.
And he just told me, we wanted to let you know that this is it, that you're not entering to the new project because the project in which I was finishing and started a new one. And so he's, oh, so you're fired,
You fired.
basically. And I
Oh,
was
You
like,
were walking for a race.
how old were
How old were you, Cynthia?
no, but that time my career started at 17, and but that time I was like 28 years.
Okay.
Oh no,
so
more. I was 30 because I remember that actually when I got married, my marriage was like in the front page of Cara.
No, you were like
The,
the
one of the-
bachelor.
of
yes, they
Hola,
showed
Hola
everything.
magazine.
Yes, and in Caras, one of the most
It's like
important
all the magazine,
magazines
yeah.
in
Yeah.
South America. Like Hola in Spain, it's Caras
Yeah.
de Rosas. At that time was Caras. And they tell, okay, she's using these earrings from Bulgari, and she's
Mhm.
using, and her dress was made by this designer.
How
I
much
can't
fun.
believe that I was doing that. Now I can believe it. But yes, they fired me, and for me it was so much pain. But now I also think that that was a blessing because I
Yes.
could be
Yeah,
here.
Yeah.
And now
exactly.
I'm using communications that I think that it's my gift because I think that we all come with gifts to the world. One of my gifts is communication, and
Yeah.
I am using it for a different reason. I'm not saying that television is bad or that you can communicate a lot, but at that time I was just like a
No,
phase.
you had to go through that, to learn.
So now I think that it was wonderful because now I'm using the communications actually for a much bigger purpose.
That's
Mm,
excellent.
mm.
Yeah, I love it. No, and now,
Beautiful,
after we
beautiful.
can we
Um,
can look at each other in the mirror and say, I am worth it.
Right.
Like
Yes.
the 80s commercial.
Annie usually
Remember?
Annie usually ends it with a
The
question.
wrapping up with a
And then
question.
I was gonna do pull an
Yeah.
angel
So
card.
before the angel card, the last question that they always make me do it is, since this is an international show and we're not about patriotism, but it's humanity, what message would you like to give to humanity, to the world? What would be Cynthia's message?
Oh, I have so many messages, but I guess that the most important is to accept. To really, I guess that acceptance is like the way, the key for love.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't love yourself if you are not accepting yourself and you're not accepting what is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the most important message is that to accept that the life that you have now is perfect,
Mm-hmm.
that you can transform everything that inside of you, but that there are things that you can't change, that you can't transform. And acceptance for me is one of the most important things in life. Accept others and accept yourself. Because if you accept another person, then you will love him or her unconditionally because you're really accepting him or her. If you accept yourself, then you can have self love and unconditional love. But if you don't have acceptance of what others do or what others are, and you don't have acceptance in yourself, it's
Mm-hmm.
impossible to have love.
Mm.
So acceptance, I guess that it's my one
It's
of my favorite words.
it's a beautiful
Love it.
message.
Love it.
Thank you.
Beautiful
That's
message.
beautiful.
And
We're
I was
Jose,
just
so let's
gonna
get the card for
remembering.
Cynthia. Let's see what you have to think of her. I don't know how you do it.
oops.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I'm
these.
saying
Yeah.
angel. Uh-huh.
And I'm not really good at mixing them, but I
No,
wanted
it's okay.
to just have
But you use a method that I like is the one that falls, remember?
yeah. Yeah, I usually I'm so bad at this. I'm so sorry. Um let's see.
The one that falls. Perfect.
Okay.
Right? The first
Okay.
one.
What is that?
Wow. Acceptance, no.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Oh, I'm telling you that the synchronicities are just here for
Oh.
me.
And
I know,
this is-
come on, Maglovia. Is
No,
it? I mean,
this is I didn't like no, this one fell. And it says, see yourself and others through the eyes of the angels with unconditional love and acceptance.
wow.
In this
Wow.
way, you inspire and lift everyone to their highest potential.
Very-
Wow.
Yeah.
That is
I am
What a
telling
great
you
way
that
of
magic
ending.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
I can't believe
Yeah.
it. It's so amazing. That's what I'm actually living now, acceptance, because in 2 days I'm getting my thyroid out. I will have a surgery and I am accepting it. And now I have my thyroid is actually I have a tatuaje, how to say tattoo?
Tattoo.
A tattoo of it right beside it.
Oh, wow.
It's a
Oh, yeah.
libélula.
Oh.
How do you say
Yeah.
libélula, Ana Maria?
Libélula, Loli.
Libélula.
Libélula
Dragonfly.
is
Is that a
like a
dragon?
little bird, right? No, it's not
No,
bird. It's
no.
a
Let
I'm
me.
not sure.
es un como un
It's a
gusano.
dragonfly. A
Like a
dragon.
dragonfly.
Dragonfly.
I was
No,
saying
in
gusano.
Español, I don't know.
Libélula.
Yeah,
It's a dragonfly.
dragonfly.
Yeah, don't worry. It's a
Oh,
dragonfly because the form of the thyroid. It's like a and actually I am doing now. It's my the last if thing that I'm studying for now, that it's a psychedelic therapy. I'm going to be accompanying the people with psychedelics. And when I was making I had a workshop, and in this workshop I became a dragonfly.
Ooh,
And it was
wow.
like my transformation was like leaving the thing that didn't work for me and becoming like a dragonfly. So that's why I had this dragonfly on me, because I want my thyroid to be here, because the transformation I am so thankful. And you would say, why are you thankful if you are getting a surgery, right? Because I'm not thankful for having this surgery, but I'm thankful for everything that my thyroid have taught me in this year, because I've been with this illness this year. And I am so thankful that I want her to be here. And now, like I was telling you that I've learned first about time and not be running and not saving anybody, because I can't save anybody. Second, about talking what I feel and
Mhm.
feeling my emotions. And third, and the last thing is letting go.
Mm.
Acceptance. The acceptance that it
Let
has
them.
to let go.
Let it go.
You know,
So
that's
now
that's a wonderful message for everybody, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it
that's
is.
acceptance also. So that's why I'm receiving this card, but because it's acceptance
Wow.
of what's happening to me.
Now,
Because
how can people get a hold of you if they would like to have coaching, motivational? I'll put it in the description. I'll put your
yes,
website.
but there's my mail that they can write me in my mail. They can write me also in Instagram. I'm always receiving messages and getting them back. And my phone, I guess that you have, right? My phone number also.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
no,
Yes,
no,
thank you. It was so
And
beautiful.
a lot of blessings.
I'm
you
still,
very
I
much.
can't believe we
Yeah,
got that
sending you good
card.
vibes for
It's so
tomorrow.
amazing. It's
Yeah.
magic is incredible.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Cynthia.
There,
Let us
I
know.
manifestation. You see, you see how
Yes,
it
yes,
works.
yes. We're
Yeah.
gonna have to have a part 2 with you because there's so many questions.
I would be so delighted. And also, if you want to do the family constellations in your retreat, count
That would
on
be
me.
beautiful.
Oh,
That would be
I would love it.
Amazing.
wonderful.
In
Thank you.
the
Awesome.
jungle.
In the-
Perfect.
Ooh,
I love it.
Anywhere.
Ayahuasca in the jungle.
I love it. I
Casino
love
over
it.
there. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cynthia.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you
Stay
very
safe.
much.
Oh, yes. Now we are. Okay. Systemic
No,
family
not systemic.
systems.
Internal family systems therapist
Internal family systems therapist.
and family constellations
And family constellations
facilitator
facilitator.
and family constellations facilitator based in Ecuador.
Based in Ecuador. Okay, you try it, Lolly.
No, I can't.